Hello again, Struck. Today I'm bringing you another video showcase for Torchlight 3, and this one is for the Blood Drinker subclass. In this video I'm gonna be showing you the active skills, the passive skills, and some item synergies. The Blood Drinker is more of a survivability healing centered subclass. It's not gonna do as much damage as a Flaming Destroyer or an Electrode build, but it still does okay damage, and it also provides various forms of healing, as well as has some sources of damage reduction under the form of the Living Barrier active skill, which is on a 20-second cooldown and can heal you and give you damage reduction. And then there's also Body Chalice, which is a passive proc, which can give you damage reduction while healing you. And then there's things like Drain that do damage and heal, and Blood Seekers that can heal and buff the whole party and do damage. And then there's other active skills such as Dance of Death and Drain and Spinning Blade, which we'll talk about in a moment. First, we will start with the aura skill, Blood Seekers. And this one is pretty decent. I really love that one. For many builds, like I do with all the auras, item synergies would be, as usual, the Ancient Ember Helm for the auras, and for every active skill here, an item synergy would be the Ancient Ember Boots and the Frost Wall. If you have the Ancient Ember Boots for Imbue Relic, and then you have the Frost Wall alongside a mace or a sword from the Frost Wall set for Arctic armaments, you can have 30 seconds cooldown on Imbue Relic, which soon should be made to 24 on all classes, not just the Dusk Mage, once they rework some of the passives that give cooldown reduction. You can keep up the aura as long as you're in combat, as you can see, up at all times. It's not draining the energy fast enough to run out of it as long as we are fighting. And with 30 seconds cooldown on Imbue Relic, every 30 seconds you can refill it. And you can see now, before the cooldown is ready, for 30 seconds we are kind of around half of the relic energy drained, which is pretty decent. And obviously drains more energy if you're not fighting, and then you have to consider other things. Now, Spinning Blade. This is, as I like to call it, the Mayhem skill, which synergizes with Egg of Mayhem and a bunch of other things such as Firestarter, the Ancient Ember Gloves, which I've tested, and they do seem to finally work compared to last time I tested them. So you can actually proc those Spinning Blades and other Mayhem skills with the Ancient Ember Gloves. And then there's synergies for the Realm Master with the Cosmic Pants, and for the Forged to autocast Sonic Pulse with the Mountain King Hatch. And as I mentioned, every active skill has that synergy with Imbue Relic, and since Imbue Relic is an active item granted skill, you can reduce its cooldown with Frost Wall and the set. The skill is decent, and you can see how when you stack multiple blades in one place, you can see that. And obviously casting that with the Egg of Mayhem results in casting a bunch of other skills, which raises the DPS pretty decently. Next we are moving on to the Big Spender, from the Small Spender to the Big Spender, and this one is Drain for this subclass. Synergies, the obvious synergies would be the Ancient Ember Pants, or for the Forge that would mean the Locomotion. And obviously, as we mentioned for the other skills, this one as well has a synergy with Ancient Ember Boots and the Frost Walls Arctic Armament set. You can refill the energy, you can get extra energy back as you spend it. This is amazing if you want to make a build where you want to do Dance of Death more often. That's the thing you want to get. This skill together with Ancient Ember Pants or Locomotion, so you can spend and regenerate as much energy as possible, so you can use Dance of Death as much as possible, obviously with the shoulders from the set too. I like Drain though, it's nice, it heals, it does damage. Next, Living Barrier, as I mentioned in the intro, it can heal you and it can do other things such as like an explosion for extra damage. The thing is that explosion you cannot have 2 explosions if you double cast it. So double casting only prolongs the duration. You're gonna see now, I'm gonna use the skill, then use Imbue Relic to reset the cooldown and use it again. It just prolongs the duration. It doesn't do double explosions. At the end of this little video recording, you would see exactly that thing. I would try and use the skill and wait a little bit, so I know that the 2 explosions won't be at the same time, to see if we're gonna have 2 separate explosions. And I think this shouldn't be that way. I think if I use it once and then use it again, I should get 2 explosions. The synergy here is, by the way, the chest, the Ancient Ember chest, and again the Frostwall Ancient Ember boots combo. So you can see now we use it and Imbue Relic and then use it, and it was just 1 explosion. It just prolonged the duration. That's all it did. Dance of Death, the big relic skill, as I like to call it, the ultimate relic skill. A ton of synergies. Those skills are obviously the ones with the most amount of synergies. You've got class-specific synergies such as the Cosmic Pauldrons, the Musketeer Gauntlets, the Mountain King Shoulders Pauldrons, the Celestial Pauldrons. Then there's things like the Toymaker's Tool, and then there's things like the Ancient Ember Shoulders, which is amazing combined with the Ancient Ember Boots and again with the Frostwall too. Then there's Bone Razor, Bone Walker, and you can put Bone Razor in the Legendarium while wearing Bone Walker and get the effect. But you cannot do this with the Frostwall and North Mace or the sword, the Glacier Sedge. You cannot put one in the Legendarium, swap the other. To get the set bonus for the Arctic armaments, you really must wear 2 pieces. But with the Bone Walker, Bone Razor, you can equip Bone Walker and you can swap the Bone Razor and still get the bonus effect. One thing that you need to know is this short video. I think I needed around 50 something seconds, 1 minute to make 6 casts of Dance of Death, thanks to the Imbue Relic skill with the shoulders and that set bonus. Now next is Rupture. Moving on to passives. Rupture, as you can see, is this little explosion. Don't get distracted by the spinning blade. And this is from Blades for Cutting, which we're gonna talk in a few moments. So you can see we're hitting a bleeding enemy. Do you see those? I just did it 3 times in a row. Those explosions, those blood splatters around the dummy. This one. Yeah, this one as well. So that's what Rupture looks like. It does damage to anyone around the Rupture, alongside the enemy itself, and you just need to hit a bleeding enemy. It doesn't have to be a basic attack like I'm doing. It's just simpler and neater and cleaner to show you with the basic attack. So as long as you're hitting a bleeding enemy, you should be able to trigger a Rupture. Now for Body Chalice, I needed to go and kill some enemies to show you this, and this is what it looks like. You get it, and then you get this buff, which is basically 10% damage reduction. But I've tested and you cannot stack 2 of those for the extra damage reduction. So yeah, you can see this is the damage reduction. Later at the end of this little video segment, you're gonna see me taking 2 at the same time, and you're gonna see that the damage reduction still is 10. But they still heal you, so taking 2 at the same time obviously would give you double the healing, so it's not bad. And you just need to kill bleeding enemies, and then there's a chance for those Body Chalices to spawn. It's not a bad one to use. I don't normally use it in my builds because I don't rely on that damage reduction or that healing. And I'd rather spend my points elsewhere, but some of you might want to use it and stack it. Keep in mind, damage reduction is multiplicative and it's no longer additive. Next, Blades for Cutting. So Blades for Cutting is, as you saw in the Rupture segment, it's those spinning blades around us. There's a lot of synergies with basic attacks, which you can combine with Blades for Cutting. Such as Neku Sticks, which is very underwhelming, such as the Frenzy Blade, that gives you attack speed, but the attack speed is capped at 60%, so keep that in mind. Such as Skittering Legs, such as Stormblade, Cosmic Boots on the Realm Master, Musketeers, Penta Wounds on the sharpshooter, so there are synergies, even the mace through sword, which also is kind of underwhelming. But yeah, you can see we're hitting enemies and we're causing those spinning blades to trigger. Sometimes they would cast on the exact same spot and stack each other. And I'm gonna show you now with the bow that you can trigger it with the bow, obviously with the class specific weapon, so you don't have to be using a sword. You can use bow, rail hammer, or digitus, which are class specific weapons on those classes. The forged does not have a class specific weapon, poor forged, so he cannot trigger this with the class specific stuff, but you can see it just triggered with the bow. Took a while though. Now Bloodletter. Bloodletter gives us up to 25% chance to bleed. And it gives you also duration and also weapon damage for the bleeding, which is additive. So if you equip a shield with bleeding, the duration gets added, the damage gets added, and the chance gets added. So it's not multiplicative, it's additive. So 25 plus 50, for example, would obviously be 75 and so on. So I don't see the numbers because the previous screen, well, I'm talking, is pretty small, but I think we were getting 60 something with the shield, and this is with the shield, the 60 something % chance. You can see it's bleeding pretty often, although it still sometimes gets stuck and doesn't bleed because it's RNG. The thing is, it's without the shield. When I just had the 25% chance, I managed to do 26 hits without causing the bleed. So this is without the shield. A few hits and it bled. Here, 1-2 hits, boom, it's bled. Now here, that's 26 hits. If you want, watch it in slow motion, count it. I did it, I counted it, and it was 26 hits before I can actually cause the bleed with 25% chance. So RNG sometimes can show you a middle finger. So Energizer, this is, you can see how it gives us energy, 3 point something, 7 point something, 11, then 15, and then 18, and so on. And this is without Energizer. Now I'm gonna go use up my energy. Here, far from Energizer, I'm also gonna level up Energizer first, and then I'm gonna show you how we're getting more energy, those 25% extra energy, while Energizer is leveled up to level 5 for the 25%. We get 5% per level. You can see now, instead of 3 point something, it's 4 point something, and then instead of 7 point something, it's 9 point something, and then instead of 11, it's 14, and instead of 15, it's 18, and so on. Obviously, you can see the difference. And this is, I made sure to unequip anything that gives me energy generation from my items, from my character, so that you're seeing the clear only 25% extra energy increase. So this is pretty much it for Energizer. You can see, obviously, with Energizer you're going to be generating energy much more often, and it would help you keep up either the duration of things like butt seekers for longer, easier, or whether you're generating energy for drain and spinning blade. It's definitely gonna help for those. And that's pretty much it for this showcase. The next one I do would be for the Bane, as soon as I farm enough Respectacles to be able to do it properly. I do hope this helped some of you out there figure out if the Blood Drinker is the class, the subclass you wanna select when creating your hero or second hero or so on, and that it gives you an idea of what each of the skills and passives can do. To get notified when I upload more content for this game or other games like this one, which would be wooters of all varieties, isometric, third-person ARPGs, wooter shooters, and all sorts of wooters like that, you could subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss out on my content updates. And optionally, you can even join as a member of the Struck Club on YouTube as a channel member to get access to exclusive perks such as special emotes custom made by me, special badges custom made by me that represents how many months you have been a member for, as well as opt-in of editing tutorials that I can give for Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, as well as shoutouts and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank all my YouTube members and Twitch subscribers. Thank you for supporting the channel and keeping me going. Thank you also for watching this video, everyone. Keep it cool, struck up until next time, and goodbye.